All right, time now for State of the Nation. We discuss matter politics and everything in between there. My guests are already with me in studio. Honorable Jared Okello, Nyando Member of Parliament, Dr. Kuro Court, Party Leader, Third Way Alliance, and Dr. Duncan Ojwang, Dean at the Nazarene University School of Law. As soon as Honorable Hilary Sigei, Bomet Senator, comes in, we'll rope him into the discussion. But let's start off with the dailies here. Face Off, front page of the Standard. Face Off. Who's fooling who? Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi skipped Tuesday's meeting with his handlers, saying that he wasn't properly invited. However, Secretary to the Cabinet is having none of that, saying that he absconded the session, an indication of deep cracks in Kenya Kwanza government. Dr. Kura, I'll start with you on this. Who's fooling who here?
I think they're all fooling each other because I think this government is increasingly becoming very unpopular. And I think many people who work within government are now beginning to actually realize it is a big mistake to join this government. So I think Muturi, in my view, wants to go the Gachagua way. I think Muturi, in my view, is looking for some popularity. Of course, we are not new in Kenya. We hear that he could be interested in the next governorship of Embu, and therefore he wants to be fired so that you know, he can go the Gachagua way. But I think the truth for the matter is that this this so-called face-off is so cosmetic to me, because it is a diversionary tactic on the issues that really affect Kenyans. Because you see, if you look at the history, how did Muturi get to start behaving the way he's behaving? He was then the Attorney General when his son was purportedly abducted. And he claims that he confronted the president. The president confronted Nordin Haji. Then within 1 hour, his son was released. So he calls the son, says, oh, I'm released, I'm going home. So within a short time. But you know, we also hear other stories, that it wasn't really an abduction as such. So the truth for the matter is, I don't know who really is fooling who, and who is this person, who are these people who are abducting. Kanja came out to say that it's not the police. Now the spotlight was on Nordin Haji. But you want to tell me with all the intelligence we have, and the president himself spoke and said that there will be no more abductions. So then who is abducting who? It seems to me there's a special squad, which is political in my view. And I wonder, and I was asking Doc Ojwang here, what really is the value of abducting these young people? You know, for me now as a parent, looking at the Daily Nation, killed in 21 days, these are all very young people. And I think as parents now, we should be more angry, we should be more annoyed with what's happening to our children. And that this government is actually subjecting our kids to this kind of torture. I watched, I think, was it Jeff Koinange's show the other day on the bench, where there was this castigation of young people on social media drawing cartoons or putting people in coffins. And I think one of the ladies, Wanjira, I think, posed the question, which is a very critical question, between putting drawing you in a coffin and actually burying your child. Which one is more painful?
Burying.
You know? So parents are burying their children. But here you have a problem with somebody, a cartoon. We don't even know. In fact, like that Kasongo Kaongo thing that is going on social media. Yeah. What is the proof that that is William Ruto? To the extent that now there are threats with a guy like Kabogo coming on board to say that they can switch off social media. You can't. This is 21st century. I mean, these are not stupid people. For me, if my child is not cleverer than me, then I have a problem. I expect my kids to be more intelligent than me, you know. So this nonsense of threats, I think, needs to stop. And that's why you can see all this is just shenanigan. This is a dysfunctional government. It's not working. In fact, if you talk to friends who are in government, I don't know whether Mheshimiwa left government.
I've never been
with bread-based government. I don't, to be honest with you, if you talk to guys inside government, they will tell you that there's no work happening in government.
Okay.
Yeah, we are back to the days of the Kanu era where civil servants will just go hang their jackets and leave. Nothing is happening. You can see we have gone back to campaign mode,
Yeah.
you know, and what is there to show?
Okay.
What is there to show? I mean, Kenyans are asking questions
Yeah.
on social media. Give me one single thing that this government can say they have done that is transformational.
Okay.
Zero. I mean, guys are dying in hospitals because of this SHA. Now people are calling it shit SHA, whatever it is. SHIV. You know, they're not paying. I saw a guy the other day, I think a CEO, posting his photo, admitted in Aga Khan Hospital. Then a bill of, he slapped with a bill of 597,000, I think, Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
And SHA could only pay 17,000. It's a joke.
Okay. Okello, is this a sign of a dysfunctional government?
Well, I'm sad, you know, as a member of parliament who should oversight the executive, that we are in this position between the president and my very good friend, Honorable Muturi. Honorable Muturi, I would say, you know, a very competent guy, very professional, and very sharp. I mean, having been my speaker for 5 years in the House. And I would attribute my debate skills to have been honed by him, because he gave me unfettered access to all the parliamentary procedures and gave me an opportunity severally to speak before the House. You know, it is commonly reported that so-and-so or X number of members of parliament haven't spoken in the House. Sometimes it is not their, you know, wish that they do not speak. But out of 349 in one House, it then behoves the Speaker to unilaterally choose who speaks and who does not. And indeed, he gave me that opportunity. So I would forever be indebted to my very good friend, Honorable Muturi. Now, having said that, let me pick it from what my brother, Dr. Kuru, has said, that there seems to have been a thread emanating from Gachagua's statement and now with Muturi, because they seem to have targeted one particular individual, who is Nurdin Haji, the NIS director. You remember, even before the former deputy president was impeached, he, in a press conference in Mombasa, castigated, in fact insulted Nurdin Haji, calling him all the names, using all the available negative adjectives one would use. And when I saw that, I knew that this person has had his time in government, because you never go for the person who has the ears on the ground and has, you know, unfettered access to the president and call him all those names and still expect to survive. Remember, during the impeachment process, we had a lot of evidence, which I do not know came from where. But when you have the NIS into the fray, then you definitely know where the evidence was coming from. Things that were unimaginable, but the government could marshal them in a very short period of time. And then that laid the basis upon which the impeachment process was conducted and concluded. So Muturi again is reading from the very script that the target here is Nurdin Haji. Of course, everybody knows what Nurdin Haji is capable of doing. He did quite a lot at the ODPP's office, and based upon that report, he got elevated to become the NIS director. So this is not a small person. This is not an incompetent person. The handling of...
That's an arguable case.
The handling of Muturi's son's case, I think, was very wrong. If I'm a cabinet secretary and have the ear of the president, and Honorable Muturi actually came out and said that he called the president.
Yeah.
He actually did not call the president. He drove himself into State House, if you read that statement. And when he drove himself, I mean, how many of us would just drive into State House and the gates would flank wide open and you get in? Very few. So for him to have driven...
And confront the president.
Yes, and confront the president. You know, he's already in my house and he's confronting me. Yeah. So very few do that, but that also feeds into the close relationship that they share with the president. So he was there, met the president. The president allegedly called Nordin Haji and he said, "I'm holding your son." That is Muturi's statement against no any other.
That Muturi overheard the president confront
Nordin Haji. Now, at a mundane level, in such a situation, if one is holding my son, and this is the president, the employer, the appointing authority, talking to somebody who is holding my son, he would summon him into State House for a round-table discussion. So on that, I fault my very good friend Muturi. Why couldn't he ask the president to call Nordin Haji to come and explain himself? Because if he did, and I'm assuming all that happened as he enumerated from his report, if that actually happened, we would not have been to this position. We would not have known that what transpired thereafter when his son was taken away and was released. So I think he's laying ground for his dismissal, not resignation, because he's a politician, remember. You know, he's been a member of parliament, he's been a KANU stalwart, he has been the party leader of DP and speaker. So he would want to milk as much political premium out of this situation of his son as much as he could. Remember, President now, Ruto, even with all the differences with his boss, he still refused to resign. And as a result, gained a lot of sympathy from the general populace and ascended to become the president of the country. So he's now using the same dosage over his boss. That let me stay as much as I can, milk all the political capital out of it, and by the time I exit, the whole nation would have, you know, rallied behind me. And remember, Mount Kenya is bolting out. Not bolting, has already bolted. Mount Kenya is not with the president anymore. And that is why he has cut back on the hitherto previous numerous trips to Mount Kenya. He's going there no longer. He's either in Western or in Nyanza.
The president is scared to go to Mount Kenya.
And remember, Justin Muturi also is coming from the Mount Kenya region. So all that hullabaloo, the brouhaha around Central Province, everybody who is coming from there would want to milk it as much as they can.
Dr. Juang, is this a sign of a dysfunctional government? And joining us now is Honorable Hilary Sigei, Bomet Senator. Thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Dr. Juang, is this a sign of a dysfunctional government?
Good morning. I'm a former dean of Nazarene. I'm no longer the dean. I think the story of former AG Muturi, most of the admission or statement are really caught up in the hearsay. And so our court can tell us their probable value. I heard so-and-so talk to so-and-so. I believe they were talking to so-and-so. And so they make a good gossip, but they are serious. They are encumbered by serious hearsay limitations. I would rather that we will have heard from his son himself. And we are talking of a 30-year-old plus. So when we talk of a son here,
42 years old. 42, almost my age.
Almost my age. Maybe I'm 1 year older than him. So it's like we are talking of the Son of God and all that. This is a grown man. So the elder in the son, isn't it? So I would rather, why is the son silent? He was the one allegedly abducted. He is the one who has a few run-on with the police. He has never said anything. Even when the court now said, you know what, this abduction issue is such a serious issue as our court is saying it, let us have anyone who has been abducted or come close to being abducted go to a police station and write a statement. we have never had this 42-year-old son speak. Instead, we have had eloquently speaking the father. And that already is a little suspicious, because, you know, he will be the one who was investigated, questioned, roughed up. He reported, or it was reported to the father that he was missing. Where is the son in this equation? Of course, for now, we also know that there is the story of whether the former Attorney General, the current CS, did not attend the meeting, whether the invitation was sufficient or not. As I could have said, it's a little bit of drama, a little bit of finding whatever is the next career plan. But I think, I also saw in the cabinet memo that some of his things from his ministry were actually passed and discussed. And so I wonder the level of efficiency, whether he delegated. But of course, I think I agree with Okot that much of it is wasting Kenyans' time and robbing us of time that we could have been discussing serious issues that pertain to the country, the real change, discussing our progress as a nation. But I want to reiterate that, you know, Kenya is a very small country, a young country. And if for anything, even for our ability to come close after politics, that is also something to write home about. I'm looking at very serious countries, fractured down the middle, but the ability to do election, come back, keep the conversation going is very important. Finally, as a teacher, I'm wondering, by the time most of us did law, law was very popular, and the people who made law very popular were people like Orengo. So the human rights, most lawyers wanted to be the Orengo. There was the activism. I am looking at the curriculum, and I'm looking at the young people we are teaching. Are we only producing activism at the expense of other fields, like corporate lawyers and whatever? Is that flavor of activism? Because there are a lot of anger, and there are a lot of approach. Let me give you an example. If I listened to CNN yesterday, in the US, whenever they will interview somebody who works with the government or is a national official like the MP here, they will start by saying, thank you for your service to the country. In Kenya, you are a suspect. The fact that you are elected or you work for the government, you are simply a suspect. You are butchered. You are not left with any corner to hide. Why is this relationship such soured? Yet other countries start by saying, thank you, Mheshimiwa Sigei, for your service to the country. Why are we all activists like this?
I have challenged Trevor,
making mini court out of the whole.
I have challenged Trevor a couple of times that we need to redirect our conversation in this country to what really is the soul of our nation. Because we are losing it, to be honest.
We'll get it.
And that's the characterization.
That's a conversation we'll have. But let me bring in Sigei on this. Sigei, what does this indicate? Is this a dysfunctional government?
Trevor, thank you for having me this morning. I'm glad to also share the platform with my senior and the MP as well as Professor Ojwang here. For starters, Trevor, we have a very functional government. That one I can assure you. I can assure the people who are watching this program. And time for cheap political publicity, for the Honorable AG is over. He has had a few sessions on the headlines. Last week, when he issued the statement, today again, I think this is enough for him. It's time for him to man up and decide to make the next step. Whether he wants to quit, the door is wide open. If he wants to work with the rest of the Kenyans, who have definitely decided that this is a broad-based government, we want to work together, it is time that he makes that choice. So for starters, if we wanted to achieve some cheap publicity, he has achieved the first few installments. If he is expecting to get more, I believe there is no other opportunity, because time for blackmail is no more. We have so much to do at hand that as a leader, as a Kenyan, as someone who I would really love to have the reception that Ojwang has said, to appreciate what you're supposed to do. The only way we can get that appreciation is to commit every opportunity and time to serve the people of Kenya. And so if the former AG feels that this is still a big issue for him, very unfortunately, it is not. And we don't need to be invited to the cabinet. I've never sat in the cabinet, but I at least have got an idea out of how government runs. It is public knowledge, it is of public notoriety that every Tuesday cabinet sits. In this case, I know that every other CS definitely was aware that the government would be having its sittings in Kakamega, and obviously then he ought to have been present. As to the sort of cheap political publicity, I did not get invited. It's not going to sell anymore. Kenyans want to see the government operate from morning to evening, serve the people of Kenya. So it is a functional government for those who want to have the best for Kenyans. The majority of us would want to do that. The majority of us would want to unite the whole country.
Yeah.
And that is the foundation that everyone else is pushing and looking through in the beginning of this year going forward.
Okay, but Ekuru, are we simply losing the point by taking a look at the political direction of this? And I've also had Dr. Ojwang ask where Muturi's son, Leslie, was. But we all remember that Leslie recorded a statement with the DCI at Kilimani immediately after he was being released. And also at the same time, the former AG, who's now the CS, was actually challenged to go and record a statement. So he simply did what a law-abiding citizen would do. Is this... why are we looking at it from a political angle?
First of all, and I think maybe just to repeat the words of Senator Sigei, these Kenyans are really being treated to cheap politics, very cheap politics, at the expense of addressing the real issues that affect the Kenyan. In fact, Leslie was arrested here, just outside here. We have Intel. After Al-Fajiri, he was living Al-Fajiri. That's why he was arrested. He was not abducted. Yeah, those are the facts. But like Dr. Ojwang is asking, this is a 42-year-old man. why is the father speaking for an adult? You know, why is it now being... And see, I also like to criticize you people in the media, because now the media is giving too much publicity to nonsense, in my view. You know, if he recorded a statement, can we even see what statement did he record at Kilimani police station? What did he say in that statement? Trevor, there are bigger issues affecting this country today.
One of them would be who is abducting the Kenyans. How come that has never been answered?
Yes, and I think for me, that's part of the problem I have with this government. I disagree with Sigei when he says this is a functional government. What is functional about this government? Kenyans are complaining about everything. People are being abducted, people are being killed. You have a president who says there are no abductions. You have got an inspector general of police who say it is not us. Now you've got a NIS director being blamed. I mean, what is functional about this government? It's actually dysfunctional. Let's just admit our mistakes and try to correct them. You know, I asked, maybe Sigei can now tell us, now that he's here, I know he's on the side of government. 3 years on, we are seeing back the president on top of cars campaigning.
Yeah, that's our next topic, so we'll talk about
it. Yes, we will. But you see, okay, what about the promises that were made in 2022? You know, creation of jobs, you know, all those things. Like even in Mumias the other day, people are now mocking this government, saying that, you know, go to your accounts and look at the, is it... the
bonuses.
The bonuses. You know, I've called a few friends. There's nothing like that. I think the problem with this government is lies. And I've said it many times in your shows here, Trevor. If you can't stop lying, at least reduce them. Yeah? At least reduce them. Because the lying is too much. You're telling us Shiv Shah is working. There are testimonies where people are actually saying they are dying in hospitals. I mean, just need to go to Kenyatta National Hospital. Yeah? And you'll see for yourself the suffering Kenyans are going through. These young people, the reason these young people are actually being killed, because they're now protesting about bad governance in this country. And I'm so happy that the younger generation is actually coming up, because this for me is true succession planning. Even if you go back to our customary, African customary, traditions. The younger people must be able to take over, community at some point. And I feel so sad that they are now being killed, they're being abducted. And I ask myself this question, Trevor, what really is the value of abducting a young Kenyan armed with a phone, just exercising freedom of expression and speech? What value is there?
Yeah.
Why can't they abduct Mheshimiwa Okello here, or myself, or even Sigei? I hope Sigei will not be abducted one time.
Thank you. I will not be. They are not abducted. And I'm not planning to self-abduct for that matter, for cheap.
But also, I find it also very cheap that people in government, those who are pro-government, can make an outrageous claim that people are self-abducting. Well, why should I self-abduct myself? I mean, seriously. And I've seen, self-abduct myself. I abduct myself for what purpose?
Yeah.
I disappear myself for what purpose? I think we should now, the government should be able to deep down and say, okay, who is this criminal gang? Even if it's not government, then let government come and say, it's not government that's doing it, but there's a criminal gang that's probably doing it. Yeah. And for what reason? Because the whole thing is political. We know it kicked off from the 25th of June last year, on the protest of the finance bill of 2024. And that's when, Trevor, people say that, we may have been born at night, but it was not last night. So we are not guests in this country.
Yeah.
We know there's a concatenation of events from the 25th of June, 2024, protest on the finance bill, leading up to the abduction, the disappearances, the killings, the dumping. Government should be able to come and say, okay, who is killing? You've got the intelligence, you've got the police, you've got the military, even military intelligence. You even have satellite. You even listen to our phones. So why is it that you cannot find out exactly who is doing these criminal activities against Kenyans?
All right.
It's simple.
Gentlemen,
and for that reason, I will still say, this is a dysfunctional government, or not a non-functioning government.
All right, gentlemen, I have to take a break. Jared, I'll come to you when we start this conversation and come back right from the break. We'd like to hear your views as well at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Citizen Daybreak. See you in a short while.